Shepseskaf is generally accepted as the last king of the 4th dynasty, succeeding Menkaure. There is no conclusive evidence of who his mother is, though it is believed that he was the son of a minor queen. Who his wife was also is unknown. Shepseskaf broke the chain of pyramid building by the previous 5 kings. Instead of a triangular pyramid, he chose to construct a rectangular block, commonly known as the Mastabat al-Firaun or Pharaoh's bench. In like fashion, however, little script was found inside his tomb, and he was buried in a very simple terms. Shepseskaf, meaning his ka is noble, was reigning just around 4, some sources say 5 years, from 2503 to 2498 BC when he died, and he was a pharaoh of ancient Egypt, the 6th and probably last ruler of the 4th dynasty during the Old Kingdom period. He reigned most probably for 4 but possibly up to 7 years in the late 26th to mid-25th century BC. And Shepseskaf's relation to his predecessor Menkaure is not entirely certain. He might have been his son or possibly his brother. The identity of his mother is highly uncertain, as she could have been one of Menkaure's consorts, or Queen Khentkaus I, or Neferhetepes. Similarly, Shepseskaf's relations to his probable successor on the throne, Userkaf was already in 5th dynasty, is not known, although in the absence of clear indication of strife at the transition between the 4th and 5th dynasties, Userkaf could well have been his son or his brother. If Shepseskaf was succeeded directly by Userkaf rather than by Tamthis, as claimed by some historical sources, then his death marks the end of the 4th dynasty. The transition to the 5th dynasty seems not to have been a sharp rupture, but rather a continuous process of evolution in the king's power and role within the Egyptian state. Around this time, some of the highest positions of power, such as that of vizier, which had either to be in the prerogative of the royal family, were open to nobles of non-royal extraction. The only activities firmly detailable to Shepseskaf's short reign are the completion of the hitherto unfinished mortuary complex of the Pyramid of Menkaure, using mud bricks, and the construction of his own tomb at South Saqqara, not known as the Mastabat al-Firaun. Shepseskaf's decision to abandon the Giza necropolis and to build a mastaba, that is a flat-roofed rectangular structure rather than a pyramid, for himself are significant and continue to be debated. Some Egyptologists see these decisions as symptoms of a power struggle between the king and the priesthood of Ra, while others believe purely practical considerations, possibly including a declining economy, are at fault. Alternatively, it may be that Shepseskaf intended his tomb to be a pyramid, but after his death it was completed as mastaba. Possibly because of this and the small dimensions of his tomb compared to those of his forebears and his short reign, Shepseskaf was the object of a relatively minor state-sponsored funerary cult that disappeared in the second half of the 5th dynasty. This cult was revived in the later Middle Kingdom period as a privately run lucrative cult aimed at guaranteeing a royal intercessor for the offerings made to their dead by members of the lower strata of society. That's very interesting, because he was basically not very well known and very short reign, but later his cult was actually revived later for these lower strata of society. So that's why actually he is basically, remember, we know a lot of evidence, but we don't know exactly how he ended and how his reign was transferred to 5th dynasty.